Okay, so I'm going to go over a question that's been asked at least a million times between me and Clay Harper as we've worked with Infusionsoft as senior consultants. And that is, how should my business use Infusionsoft? We love getting this question because one, it shows deliberate thinking. You're thinking, how can this software help me? So Infusionsoft isn't just sitting there, but you want to do something with it. And two, success doesn't happen by accident. And that's the case with automation. It needs to be strategic, right? And Infusionsoft isn't something that you can just plug and it does everything for you. It doesn't make your coffee for you. It doesn't drive your car. You need to know your business, and then you need to know how Infusionsoft fits in, right, to get that ROI you need from it. Okay, so this blueprint webinar that we're going to share with you, we use this blueprint for all of the businesses that we consult. And even if we don't put it on paper, we're thinking it inside of our head. And because every business should have this plan. And it becomes very simple what you need to automate and what Infusionsoft can do for your business once you go through this process. And so I'm just going to let the recording roll. I'm going to let you go through this webinar and enjoy.
So it all starts with a plan. Brianne and I have helped a ton of people be successful and get started with Infusionsoft. And time and again, the problem that we see people have is they jump into Infusionsoft and start building, but they don't have a plan. So we want to build well, we start with a plan. So today we're going to go over the importance of the plan, the blueprint methodology, the methodology that we use to start people successfully in Infusionsoft. We're going to look at some examples and
So one thing we see all the time, especially talking to the many customers that we work with, is you hear all of these Infusionsoft success stories, and then you buy Infusionsoft, you get really excited, and you just jump right into the system.
Get on Christmas.
It's really easy to want to get in there and just start working in the campaign builder, but just like Clay really emphasized, it's so important that you create a blueprint, a plan, before you go into Infusionsoft.
That's right. Most successful businesses, and again, we've worked between us the thousands, right? Thousands. I don't know, a lot of businesses. Those who start out with a plan are worlds ahead of those who don't. So think about your business. Are you taking it day by day? Do you have a strategy for how you take leads from when they first meet you to the sale? Do you have that process, or are you taking it day by day? Are you operating by sticky note? Okay, that's no way to run a business. It doesn't scale. You have to get a plan and automate that plan.
So just like Clay emphasized, you're taking things day by day. A lot of times we'll use this analogy just to put things in perspective. If you're taking your business day by day, you're hands in, you're spending all this time in your business, it's like you're watering a lawn by hand daily. It's taking, 2 to 4 hours a day. It's taking you away from things that are more important, like, servicing customers and other things that could be taking your time. What we want to do with Infusionsoft is we want to implement this irrigation system into this long process that you're making, watering your plants every single day. And just like putting a sprinkler system in your backyard, you can't just start digging holes. You have to start with a plan. And then when you have this awesome irrigation system, you get all the time back that you were investing into your business and doing the day-by-day tasks that were taking away from things that were more important.
Totally. So there before, because you're watering these plants by hand, you might miss out on something. People fall through the cracks. Oh, we didn't, this poor little plant. Didn't have time for this little guy. When we have an irrigation system, a process that we put people through, processes can be consistent, and you know how they work. It's always the same, so people get consistent treatment. So let's take a look. What does a plan look like? What does this blueprint look like? Well, that's what we call it. We call this our small business blueprint. So this is an example of a small business blueprint. I just want to focus on two main parts of this. I know there's a lot of detail down here, and you're welcome to kind of look at that after. But right now, let's focus on two parts. One, I want you to notice there are parts of your marketing plan that are not inside Infusionsoft. These things are, hey, we might do some Facebook ads, some Google ads. We might do some networking. We might point the people that we meet to our website, a place we control. Again, not Infusionsoft. We're going to come up with things to offer them. Infusionsoft doesn't give you things to offer them. Where Infusionsoft comes into play is saying, great, let's capture those people with a web form you can put on your website. Let's capture people, nurture them towards a purchase. So let's take a look at the parts here briefly. First, we need to attract leads. We got to get in front of people. Next, we need to get those people to a place that you control, usually your website. On that website or a place you control, we need to offer people some things to do. Most people who land on your website, they're not ready to purchase straight away. And so we need to offer them freebies in exchange for their email address or phone number, but usually email address because phone numbers people guard very carefully. Once we capture people, usually through a web form, but it could be a landing page or some landing page software through some integration. Once you capture people, we're going to nurture them, send them emails to persuade them to do higher engagement things, clicking on links, visiting your website, signing up for consultations, or purchasing. Post-purchase, we're going to deliver, make them happy, wow them, cross-sell, upsell. Let's look at this in a little more depth. So, Brianna, where do you think? All right, you're a small business. You say, hey, cool, I want to start figuring this out, my marketing plan for my business. I got to get it written down. Where do we start? Which of these icons should we start with?
Well, I'm cheating since I know the answer to this, but I know many people would start at the beginning. You'd think
Makes
you went
sense.
from right to left.
Sure.
But we often start with the sale. We have to figure out what we're selling.
Why do we do that?
Whether it's products or services. That's really what this whole thing is aimed at, right? If we're trying to convert people, we need to know what we're converting them to.
Sure.
So we need to know how we attract them, where they hang out. And that really comes down to ultimately the sale itself.
What we're selling informs everything else. It helps us figure out our target market, who we're aiming at, how we're talking to them. Absolutely. So let's do it. Starting with the sale. Okay, so we're going to kind of dig into a little bit. You need to understand the product that you're selling. So let's talk about it. Who is your product for? It really connects to your target market, who you're aiming at. Do you have a diverse offering of products? We'll talk about that. Why should they buy from you? Okay, let's talk about a problem we frequently see with people.
A real common issue that we run into is people have one product. We call it like the Cadillac product. It costs $15,000 and that's all they sell. We see it often with coaches and business consultants.
Big with coaches.
And they've got, this $3,500 product and it's this awesome retreat and it's great for the people that are ready for that.
Kill it.
But very few people that are coming to your website are ready just to buy this $15,000 or $3,500 product.
They're not ready.
So we need to have different levels of products to get people's interest so that they can still engage with you and start buying something that is of value to them, but not having to make as big of an investment.
Take out a loan here.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, absolutely. And so this is what that might look like. We're not saying don't have high-dollar products. Absolutely, have high-dollar products. That's great. But you want to create with your product offering a product path so that people who you get on their radar, who you've just introduced yourself to, they don't know you quite well enough to be able to pull the trigger on a big purchase. Let them start low. And it doesn't have to be quite this little bit, but often what we see people do is they have a nice tripwire product, something like a low-dollar ebook that people are able to purchase. Maybe it's an online course they're able to start off with. Especially recurring revenue is a big deal. You can have a low number of people who are paying smaller amounts per month. That really adds up. Okay, and then you can bring in other events. Group experiences, something so that someone can open their wallet, show you that they're a serious lead, and as they trust you, they can spend more with you. All right, let's talk about the target market and your value proposition. What you sell and who you sell it to, you must have clear, or else we're going to build badly when we jump into Infusionsoft. So let's talk about the target market. If I ask you, who are you selling to, and you tell me everyone, another common thing we hear all the time from people. Oh, everybody can use my product. Lovely. Can you afford to market to everyone? Because if you can, lovely. You're Coca-Cola. Lovely. The world is your oyster. But that's not the case. You cannot afford to market to everyone, and so we must get targeted. Okay? And I don't just mean demographically. Okay? Age, income, life stage. That's very important. Are you targeting more female than male? That's great. You have to do that. But I want to get deeper. And by deeper, I mean, what is the pain that your people are feeling? They have a headache and you're aspirin, right? We have to know what they're feeling so that we can really market to them well. If you can get to that, be very powerful with your value proposition, the quality you offer, the benefits, expertise, that type of thing.
And really the value proposition is what you're helping somebody either achieve or avoid. A lot of times people are very much motivated by pain or pleasure. So by saying, you're going to get my product and you're going to be less stressed and have more energy, I've hit on two big points. A pain point is stress, and energy is a pleasure point, something that I'm going to gain and something that I'm going to avoid. It's very important that you know the benefits of your product so that when you're talking to somebody, you're able to educate them and then drive them towards the sale.
For sure. Understanding these two things, your target market, who you're selling to, and your value proposition, it makes writing emails easier. It makes coming up with a lead magnet or an offer easier. It makes everything easier when you understand your target market. Frequently when I talk to somebody, if they're having trouble writing emails, it usually comes down to a value proposition problem. They don't know how to pitch their product properly to who they're talking to. Last thing for target market, I like to tell people, you've dug deep enough into target market when you start to tease out segments. Segments are different groups within your target market. You might say, if you're a real estate person, you might say, I have two big segments of people who buy, who are wanting to sell their homes, people who want to buy homes. You're going to talk to those audiences completely differently. Okay? It won't always be that cut and dry. Often your target market may have some subtlety to it. These people are more interested in weight loss, while these people are more interested in health. Could be. But you need to tease out those differences and speak to them accordingly. All right, so once we have a handle on our target market, we know what we're selling, we need to get in front of the eyeballs of our target market. We got to get where the people are, okay? And that means doing some networking, some Facebook ads perhaps, social media. It doesn't always cost money, but the essential thing is that you get in front of your target market and attract them to a place you control, generally your website, but it could be other things, at least your website in this day and age. So driving traffic costs time and money, so we need to capture people who land on your website. If you drive 1 million people to your website right now, think of your own website. Are you confident you could convert a lot of those people either to sales or convert a lot of people to email addresses? If not, you got to change that.
Mm-hmm. And that's really where the offer comes into play. We need to give people something that's going to entice them, something that's specific to them. Like, Clay mentioned earlier about segmenting your target market. We'll use the example of a real estate agent. If you segment buyers and sellers, there's different types of buyers. I could be somebody that owned a home for years and I'm a move-up buyer. So I'm going to be more interested in getting maybe a newer home, or I could be a first-time home buyer who just is looking for something that's in my price value. So there's going to be different types of things you're going to offer those different segments because it's going to be what's important to them, and that's how you're going to communicate with them, and that's what's going to lead them to pull the trigger because they want what you have.
Totally. Yep. So we need to offer them some value, usually for free in exchange for their email address. We can offer things in exchange for their phone number as well, like a consultation. However, you got to realize people guard their phone number very carefully. And so you're going to need to really provide a lot of offer, or else you're not going to get people to opt in. And this kind of brings us to a big problem we see as well a lot. I mean, how many websites have you seen where they say, hey, a contact me page, which is a crappy glorified email, and a newsletter, and that's it. You got to provide more value. Basically, you want to have a variety of offers on your website. Generally, we like to divide these into low barrier, medium barrier, and high. Low barrier are things that are super easy for someone to get, all in exchange for their email address. Free report, video series. Medium barrier are things that cost a little bit of time. They're free. All you're asking for is an email address, perhaps, but they cost you time. Attending a webinar, attending a workshop, it costs time, and so fewer people are willing to sign up for it. And then finally, high barrier are things that, only the people who are very serious are going to sign up. Free consultation. They know they're signing up for a sales pitch. They know it. You know it. It's a nice sales pitch. You're not twisting the arms. But they know that, and so it's less likely for people to sign up for a free consultation until they're more prepared. Great. So how do we actually capture people? Well, that's through a web form generally provided from Infusionsoft. We'll dig into that in a second. So finally, this is your marketing plan. We need to get in front of our target market. We need to get in front of those eyeballs and convince those eyeballs to come to your website or another place you control. Once they're on that website, we need to offer them things, various things usually, free report, video series, as well as higher barrier things like a consultation. We need web forms for each of the things that we're offering so they can fill it out and get our emails, deliver what we promised, and convince them to take the next step, whether that's purchasing or signing up for a free consultation. Once they purchase, deliver, wow, upsell. Let's take a look at some examples. Here is a kind of standard e-commerce example that fits exactly within the framework we're talking about. We need to get in front of eyeballs of our target market through Facebook ads, referring websites. Maybe we put a link to our website on some friends' blogs or something. Google ads, very important. do some of those. Maybe you're doing word of mouth. Somehow we get people to our website. Once we get people to our website, and here's a little picture of the website just to kind of illustrate, hey, we get people to our site. We're going to offer some different things. Now, you're probably not going to offer all these different offers on one page of your website. Your home page would be pretty cluttered with all these offers if you were to have them in the same place. Probably you're going to have these different offers within different subpages of your website. We've drawn a box here around the website portion, the place you control, the offer, the value that you're giving, and the web form that we're actually going to use to facilitate that exchange. They're exchanging their email address in exchange for the value you're giving, and that happens on a web form, perhaps a landing page, all within your website. Once they do give you their email address, we had better deliver what we promised. And you'll notice the color coding. This is a roughly linear process at this point, or in this part of the blueprint, where we are offering some value. They give you that value, or they request that value in exchange for their email address, and then Infusionsoft will deliver. Now, if we're just delivering what we promised, we're not going far enough. We need to deliver the value we promised and pitch something, usually a product. Now, in this example, these different colors are offering different products, and maybe that works for you. But most of the time, it won't be quite that clear cut. You might have a certain offer that you're giving away, a certain ebook that lends well to pitching product A, for example. And so that's what the emails would do. But you may have several ebooks where you don't necessarily need a comparable product. You could just pitch the generic product. However you want to do it. This is very flexible. But the idea is we capture email addresses, we deliver, and persuade them to convert. Once they do purchase, we thank them and upsell.
When you see the word pitch, just go back to the value proposition, because It's really talking about not just saying, hey, buy this here. It's having the emotional conversation of what value you're going to offer them, as well as educating them. Maybe they don't realize that, your product's going to help them relieve stress and save time. You need to have that conversation and then get, clear points on educating them why it's going to do that, and then drive them towards here's how you purchase it.
Totally. And what people don't often understand as well is this nurture could be 50 emails over 6 months. I mean, you can do it the way you want to do it, but the idea is we better deliver value and persuade them to do something. Let's take a look at a little bit deeper example to see how we might convert this plan into Infusionsoft. So again, we have where we're attracting people, getting them to your website. Here's an example of what that might look like. You have kind of a website here, and then you have a web form that you've created inside Infusionsoft. Infusionsoft gives you the code, and you put that form onto your website. On your website, on a certain page, people fill it out. It triggers a sequence of emails, 2 emails, 50 emails, whatever you set up, to deliver what you promised and persuade them to take the next step. So in this case, it's a purchase, and then you thank and upsell after that.
And then power of Infusionsoft is Infusionsoft says, okay, well, if they purchase, let's stop pitching service A and let's do the upsell. And that's where like the automation really comes into play and really takes all that time that you've been doing, nurturing people over the phone or through emails, manually, that's now automated, and it's now talking to them based on what they've told you about themselves or what their actual actions.
Totally. So some of you might be thinking at this point, well, this is great, but I don't have a strictly speaking, straight e-commerce store. I need to talk to people before they're going to buy anything, or I'm trying to get people to a consultation, not buy a product. Well, let's take a look, because this is a very flexible scaffolding. Let's take a look at this. So you'll notice for this one, same setup as before, but I have inserted 2 columns here for free consultation and nurture. And you'll notice that all roads now lead to Rome, Rome being the free consult that you are offering. You still are getting in front of audiences. You're still getting them to your website. You're still on this website offering different value. And when they request this value, you're delivering what you promised and pitching the consult, because they can't purchase unless they talk to you. Once you have the consult, and this is again where Infusionsoft gets very powerful. Once you have your consultation, you are able to say, hey, Infusionsoft, they said yes. Lovely. They bought, and thanks and upsell. Hey, Infusionsoft, they said maybe. They had a price concern. Lovely. And Infusionsoft can put them down the path to speak to that price concern and persuade them to take the next step forward. Hey, Infusionsoft, we had a consultation. They said not right now. Educate them. Cool. Nope, they said no, or you said no. Basically, you can say, hey, Infusionsoft, I had a conversation in the real world. Now I want you to do this. Put them on path A, B, C, or D.
And that's where we get strategic. That web form not only, speaks to their concern, but you can also make it look like it was written for them. You can make that form easily send out, a little explanation of your call. You can put that in there so it looks like it was very much written by you. You can delay it 5 minutes after your call so it looks like you just typed up an email and sent something out thanking them for their time. It's very high touch without you having to be high touch. It's automating something and giving you back your time.
This is the sprinkler system we were talking before, where you say, hey, I have my paths. Now I just need a human touch to guide it down the proper channel. Totally. Okay, let's take a look. Let's see a real example. You might be saying to yourself, well, this looks great, but how do I do it for myself? How do I do it for my business? Okay, and again, guys, in the top right corner of this page, on the Method of Success page, you're actually able to download this same Excel document where I have all these examples. So if you haven't had a chance to copy down, if you've been scribbling notes furiously, good on you, but we have it for you up high. Let's do a real example. Okay. For this example, I'm actually a beekeeper. Why don't we use a little bee business? Okay, let's dive into it.
Let's go ahead and start with what you sell. So let's list your products out.
Great. So I sell honey quarts and honey pints. Okay. And then I sell pollen and pints and honey. And then I sell honeycomb. Nice and easy. And that's it.
Now let's talk about your target market. Now we know what you're selling. Who needs this product? Who would you be targeting? Tell me about, is it male, female? We can talk first about demographics and then move a little bit more into kind of the segmentation.
Yeah, it's a largely female demographic that purchases. Allergy sufferers, health conscious folks. It's a hard one to spell on the fly. People who are just interested in natural stuff. Is mostly that. Now, the big segments that I play with are allergy sufferers and those who are health conscious and looking for local stuff. So we can almost say, hey, the hippies and and the sufferers. If we're gonna put 2 names on it real fast, that would be what I offer, and the value proposition.
And we'll talk about why, which is where the value proposition comes in. Allergy sufferers, that's perfect because that goes right along with how we talked earlier about pulling out a pain or a pleasure point. Allergies is, do you really want to spend this next season hurting, not being able to go certain places? Do you really want to take medicine that makes you drowsy, or do you want to use something a little more natural? You're having a very real conversation, and this is where we talk about, okay, what are we helping them achieve, and what are we helping them avoid?
Totally. Yeah, and that is, a lot of the things that I try to hit hard. So great. So how do I get in front of my audience? Well, for me, I do a lot of boutiques. Farmers markets are just lousy with beekeepers. They're just all over there. So what I like to do is I do more of the upscale boutiques because that's where my audience is. Okay, so I'm a little different that way. Do a lot of Facebook promotion. Facebook groups are huge for me. I do a little bit of Facebook ads and Google ads, as well as a lot of word of mouth. I have some good sites referring me, so that's always fun.
And I've referred a lot of his business, so hey.
Referral program, how to do. Cool. So these people who hear about me, I send them largely to my website. I do have a Facebook page that I can put some things on, but largely it's just my website. So when people come to my website, what am I going to offer them? Well, right now I don't do all that much. Well, what should I be doing? If we look at our target market, we are able to come up with some great offers. We could say, 10 ways honey helps with allergies.
And right there, we're hitting on a pain point, something that is going to be how you're going to talk to them going forward. You know that that is a specific segment that's going to be interested in this. So you've got them right at the beginning, and okay, this is somebody that obviously is interested in why honey can help allergies.
For sure. And, knowing that I'm targeting a largely female audience, hopefully health conscious and natural, 5 crazy ways to feed your children honey. I don't know. We're just kind of throwing some things out here. Okay. Whatever we come up with offer-wise, it's going to probably be a couple different things, because the wider net we cast, the more fish we catch. And those offers are going to come directly from the target market. And what we're going to do, I might do one because I know I sell pollen. I might do one, and we like numbers just because numbers tend to be pretty grabby. So you're going to be 7 ways to eat pollen or something, or seven pollen tips. Local beekeeping video, something like that. You need to have offers that really resonate with your target market, and web forms for each. We'll put that web form with the offer on your website. Great. Once they sign up, I had better deliver what I promised and pitch. Pitch what? Pitch product. Gotcha? Lovely. So, and you'll notice it'll be that same pattern for each. I'm going to pitch a little differently, though, to the ways you feed your children folks than I will to the pollen folks. Right? Pollen people may be a little bit bigger with allergies, and so I'll hit the allergy angle. Okay? Pollen tips for allergies, in fact. Heck. Spell it out, huh? Okay, now some of you might be saying, okay, well, this is great, but again, I'm a consultant. I don't aim to products right away. Hey, let's say, okay, so let's add that in. Let's say that I am so good at selling what I do, I want to become a nutritionist, and I do, and I become I want to counsel people on their nutrition, larger nutrition. So to get people to my nutrition services, I had better, insert a couple of fields here. Okay, we'll kind of zoom out a little bit here. We might call this one free consult, and this would be follow-up. Okay, again, I'm probably going to put something on my website, sign up for free consultation. But again, most people aren't going to be ready for that. And so what I'll do is I'll have, to these people who've given me an email address, I will then send the link to this free consult form, and I'll send that link to them in the emails that they're receiving.
And those dealing with products and services, you may have people that originally come to you because they want to buy quarts of honey or pollen, and then you decide, you know what, I'm going to do nutrition consulting, and then you quickly say, you know what, I want to take all those people that have purchased from me in the past, and I want to start nurturing them towards this consulting service. Well, in Infusionsoft will start to segment those audiences based on different tags that you apply. And then you can easily look up that group of people and start to nurture them towards the consultation.
Totally. And then great, depending on how the consultation goes, some people are going to say yes, some people are going to say maybe, and some people are going to say no. So you make paths for each in Infusionsoft. So in a nutshell, that's how you begin to frame out your business marketing plan on paper, quote unquote. You get it written down somewhere that you can look at it, improve it, and begin to bring this to Infusionsoft. So thank you for sticking with us through this video. Go ahead and take a look in the upper right-hand corner to take a look for downloads where you can do this with your own business. Once you have your business planned out, it's then time for the build phase where you can take this plan and start to build properly in Infusionsoft so you can save time and money. Thanks.
Happy building!